A shadowed dusk cloaks a quiet porch, where whispers turn to shoves, an elder's cry swallowed by rain. She stumbles, her past a veiled strength, wielding secrets blurred images, silent scars. In a hushed courtroom, a figure looms, sifting truth from shadow. What lies beneath their clash? Unravel this enigma where kin conceal venom. Proof glints in the gloom, and a stormy twilight hides a tale of trust's fracture, whispering questions that drift into the night. The air outside a modest bungalow, on the edge of Salem, Oregon, hung heavy with the mingled scents of rain-soaked cedar and the faint tang of wood smoke drifting from neighboring chimneys under a gray October dusk. Its oppressive stillness, pierced by the sharp, tremulous cry of an older woman echoing off the clapboard siding. The street, a quiet stretch of wet asphalt flanked by sagging maples, and the dim glow of porch lights flickering through the drizzle, stretched beneath a sky cloaked in low, rolling clouds, their edges fraying into mist that blurred the outlines of Salem's suburban sprawl. The evening was raw, a biting 48 degrees, the rain falling in a steady patter that tapped against the bungalow's tin roof and glistened on the overgrown lawn, amplifying every sound. The rustle of wet leaves underfoot, the distant bark of a dog cutting through the neighborhood, the steady drip of water from the eaves like a metronome in the fading light. Margaret Cole, 68. A widow, with a steady gaze forged by 40 years teaching history at Salem High, and a quiet resilience honed through decades of raising a family alone, after her husband's death, stood just beyond the bungalow's front steps at 5:30 p.m. Her raincoat sodden, her gray scarf loose around her neck, her right hand clutching a cane she'd used since a knee surgery 2 years prior, her left steadying herself against the porch railing. A rare moment of frailty after a day grading papers in the home she'd shared with her son. Her gray hair was pulled into a loose bun beneath a damp hood, strands clinging to her weathered cheeks. Her steady brown eyes scanning the yard with a mix of pain and determination. Her breath a faint mist in the rain as she faced her son and his girlfriend, her life. A disciplined rhythm of teaching and memory since Tom's father passed 15 years ago. Her presence commanding yet vulnerable until it was assaulted. She'd moved into Tom's bungalow 5 years prior. Her savings, a lifeline, she'd offered to keep the roof over their heads. Her name on the deed, a bond she'd trusted until now. Tom Cole, 42. A carpenter with a gruff voice and a reputation for stubbornness, etched into his 20-year career, framing houses across Marion County, stood on the porch beside his girlfriend, Lisa Grant, 35. A waitress with a sharp edge and a quick temper. Their blue eyes glinting with irritation beneath furrowed brows. Their lean frames tense beneath rain-slicked jackets. Their breaths sharp with the faint tang of the beer they'd shared at 5:00 p.m. after a long shift at the Lumberjack Tavern. Tom had climbed out of Salem's working-class roots through grit and calluses. His father's carpentry tools a legacy he'd claimed, his confidence a mask, forged in a world where family was duty and debts were burdens. His mind a tangle of frustration and a simmering itch to reclaim his space. His girlfriend's influence, a spark to his resolve. Lisa had latched onto Tom 2 years ago, her charm a veneer over a history of bar fights and evictions, her voice cutting through the drizzle at 5:30 p.m. "Margaret, get out, this ain't your house no more." Margaret turned, her steady brown eyes meeting theirs, her voice calm, measured. "It's my home, Tom, I'm on. The deed I stay." Tom's grin tightened, his tone barking, "You're a burden. Mom, time to go." What unfolded was swift and brutal. Lisa lunged, her right hand shoving Margaret's shoulder, sending her stumbling back, her cane clattering to the wet porch as Tom grabbed her arm, his sharp voice barking, "Out now!" Margaret fell, her knee twisting, her cry piercing the rain as she hit the ground, her steady gaze flaring with fury, her voice low, cutting through the drizzle. "You pushed me! I'll sue you both! This isn't over!" Tom froze, his blue eyes widening, his breath catching, as the weight of his act sank in Lisa's shrill voice, faltering. "She tripped! Get up, you old bat!" Neighbors peeked from windows, phones flashing as they filmed their gasps. A chorus in the rain. Margaret rising, Tom stepping back. Betrayal laid bare in the glow of camera lights. Margaret's voice, a whisper to herself. They'll pay. Tom saw a burden slipping away. Margaret saw a bond shattered, a spark to her resolve honed by years of teaching and surviving. She filed a suit that week at the Marion County Courthouse clerk's window, October 25th. Her steady hands trembling as she signed her raincoat swapped for a coat from her closet, her voice firm. This is about justice. They hurt me, owe me. Their clash ignited a storm over family and truth. Salem's gray dusk pressing down like a judge's scrutiny. Waiting to fall, the city's rain-soaked streets a brooding witness to her stand. The Marion County Courthouse buzzed on a crisp November morning, its marble halls reverberating with the echo of footsteps that bounced off the polished floors, like a steady drumbeat threading through the cool, dry air, the scent of polished oak blending with the faint musk of old files stacked in dusty corners, their edges yellowed and curling from years of handling, and the brittle chill that seeped through the walls after October's rains, and the sharp tang of coffee wafting from paper cups, clutched by restless hands, its bitter aroma drifting through the space like a ghost of hurried mornings. The courtroom, perched on the third floor, was a grand chamber, with oak benches, worn smooth by decades of Salem's disputes, custody battles settled with terse nods or bitter glares that hung heavy in the air, petty theft cases hashed out in clipped exchanges of blame and defense that left the room taut with unresolved tension, civil suits ending in reluctant handshakes or hollow apologies that faded into the low hum of whispered conversations. Its walls were lined with faded portraits of stern-faced judges, their edges curling under the weight of time, and the cool air that slipped through the high windows, their glass clear and streaked with the faint frost of an early winter, offering fleeting glimpses of Salem's skyline beyond its brick buildings, and the distant, slate-gray shimmer of the Willamette River glowing faintly under a pale, overcast sky. At the front, behind a raised bench scarred with nicks and pen marks that traced decades of rulings and late-night deliberations over yellowed files, sat Judge Daniel Pierce, 60, his short gray hair combed neatly, accentuating the sharp lines of his weathered face, etched by years of courtroom battles and Oregon winters, his blue eyes sharp with a quiet intensity that sliced through the room's stillness, like a hawk spotting prey across the Willamette's muddy expanse, seeing through bluster and bravado to the raw truth beneath a gaze that missed nothing and weighed everything with unflinching precision. His robe hung crisp over a firm frame, tempered by years of discipline, broad shoulders from his days as a logger in Tillamook before law school, his voice steady with authority, as it once barked orders across windy forests, hands steady from wielding gavels and pens, their knuckles faintly knotted from gripping justice, with a clarity that left no room for evasion. His voice, a firm, steady drawl, honed by 25 years on the bench, carrying a steel forged through countless courtroom tangles, as he called the case, his tone cutting through the crisp air like a whip cracking over a silent plain. Cole versus Cole, assault and eviction claim damages sought. Let's hear it, folks, and keep it tight. I want facts, not feelings. We're here for evidence, not excuses. My docket's full, and this cold's not waiting for dawdling, so let's move. Margaret sat at this plaintiff's table, flanked by her counsel, Sarah Mills, a wiry attorney with a rumpled suit that hung loose on her slight frame, her sharp green eyes darting between her client and the bench, a quick pen dancing across her notepad as she tracked every word, evidence meticulously stacked before them, a thick folder of medical reports, photos, witness affidavits, property records, her steady brown eyes glinting with resolve, her gray hair loose beneath a scarf swapped for the courtroom, her raincoat replaced with a coat crisp over her frame, her hands steady on her cane despite the tremor of memory, beneath her calm a fire stoked by weeks of reliving that push, the sun's gruff bark, the girlfriend's sharp shove the weight of her home threatened in a Salem rain. She'd left teaching 2 years prior for retirement, her life a quiet rhythm of grading and gardening since her husband's death, her presence a beacon of strength, until it was struck, her resolve deepened by classroom grit and widow scars. Tom Cole and Lisa Grant stood at the defendant's table, flanked by their counsel, Tom Ellis, a wiry attorney with a pressed suit and a steady gaze, that masked his nerves. His dark hair combed back neatly, papers thin and neatly arranged before them, little more than a handwritten note and a lease claim. Tom's gruff voice, steady but brittle, as he adjusted his posture. A faint sheen of sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool air. His blue eyes hard with defiance. His lean frame tense beneath a buana. Clean, flannel shirt swapped for his usual work gear. Lisa's sharp edge. Tense beside him, her blue eyes flickering with irritation, her lean frame rigid beneath a jacket. Their breaths even as they braced for the fight. The faint whiff of beer lingering from a tavern stop. The night before their lawyer's presence. A shield they'd leaned on to deflect blame since the suit hit. Tom had built his life on carpentry, 20 years, framing homes a bungalow he'd claimed as his own. His confidence, a mask now trembling as Daniel took the bench. Lisa's influence a spark to his defiance, her tavern life, a shadow behind her charm. Daniel leaned forward, his elbows resting firmly on the bench, his blue eyes scanning the filings, with a predator's focus, Margaret's typed claim for assault, and damages its pages, crisp with dates, medical records and a detailed recounting of the October 24th incident, laid out in stark black ink. Her teacher's precision shining through every line. Tom and Lisa's handwritten response, a single sheet claiming accident no eviction. His pen tapping a slow, deliberate rhythm against his notepad. Each tap a signal he was sifting through their mess with a judge's stern eye. His voice cutting through the gallery's hum like a foghorn over the river. Facts draw the line here, folks, every time I see it in this room. A claim's weight caught in the balance, evidence decides it. Prove your case. I want specifics. Not guesses, clarity. Not chaos today, no tears. No tantrums. Just the truth. Plaintiff's up first. Up. His drawl carried a firm, unyielding authority. His gaze, shifting between them, like a spotlight, probing for cracks, weighing their claims with a steadiness that brooked no evasion. His hands steady on the bench as he flipped through Margaret's claim photos. Doctor's notes, a recounting of the rainy dusk. Then Tom and Lisa's response, a slim sheet that seemed to shrink under his scrutiny. His lips thinning slightly as he read the dates. His blue eyes narrowing with a flicker of skepticism. Mother claims harm, son claims. Chance family's bond caught in the middle. I need proof, not please. Let's hear it. The gallery buzzed whispers, swelling like a rising tide. Retirees like Ed Grayson, a grizzled farmer with a thermos of black coffee muttering to his wife Clara, a retired clerk with a notepad clutched tight. Son pushed her. She's got the Pixies toast. Young workers like Tara Mills, a cashier with a faded apron stuffed in her bag, whispering to her friend Lena Ortiz, a barista with tired eyes and a nervous fidget. She's got him evidence. Don't lie, they're done. Tom's crew buddy, Sam Carter Lanky, with a faded cap pulled low, nudging his pal Luke. Ramsey, a mechanic with a thick beard and a skeptical grunt. She fell. Tom's solid judge'll see. Their voices a low hum of anticipation. A chorus, threading through the tension, their bets and murmurs, a backdrop to the courtroom's simmering storm. A pulse matching the crisp air, and the light's steady glow overhead. A rhythm that quickened as Margaret stepped forward, her steady brown eyes locking onto Daniel, her resolve a steel thread woven through her. Calm. Margaret's jaw tightened, her fingers clenching her cane until the knuckles whitened her breath, steadying as she stood her boots silent on the marble. The weight of her home and justice anchoring her stance, Tom's hands steadied. His blue eyes flickering with defiance, his gruff voice faltering for a heartbeat. Daniel's words, a gauntlet thrown, their clash now. A courtroom battlefield under his stern and unyielding gaze. Salem's gray dusk. A faint shimmer beyond the tall windows, its river dulled by frost, the city's quiet sprawl, a brooding witness to their unraveling truth. Margaret took the stand first, climbing the steps with a steady grace that echoed softly off the marble floor. Her coat, crisp over her frame, its fabric pressed with the meticulous care of a woman who'd spent 40 years teaching history and stitching family bonds. Her voice calm yet edged with a quiet fury that simmered beneath her poised demeanor. a fire stoked by weeks of reliving that push. The son's gruff bark, the girlfriend's sharp shove, the weight of her home threatened in a Salem rain. She swore her hand firm on the Bible, its leather creased and soft from years of oaths, a weight grounding her resolve. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. She sat, hands resting on the rail, fingers tracing its worn grain as she adjusted the microphone. With a faint squeak, her steady, brown eyes locking onto Daniel, with a resolve tempered by years of teaching, and surviving her gray bun, swaying slightly, as she leaned in, her breath steadying against the courtroom's crisp air, her voice threading through the stillness like a steady pulse. They pushed me out. Bruises prove it. My home's mine. They owe me damages. She slid her evidence across the stand, with a deliberate motion, a thick folder of medical reports, photos, witness, affidavits, deed records. Her voice steady, carrying across the room with a weight that filled the silence, a teacher's precision cutting through the haze. October 24th this year, 5:30 p.m. My bungalow. They say get out, she shoves me. He grabs 5:30, oh, 5 p.m. I fall, knee twists, cry out, photos, show bruises. Doctor's note confirms sprain, deed's mine, paid half, 5 years ago. Oregon, revised statutes, 163.160 assault intent clear. They hurt me, owe me. Her words landed like a quiet thunderclap, rippling through the gallery. Her steady, brown eyes unwavering, a calm storm of justice beneath her poise. The weight of her home and fight, spilling into her testimony, her teaching years, a silent chorus, her widowhood a scar that fueled her stand, her resolve a fire that burned steady. Daniel leaned forward, his blue eyes sharp and unyielding, his pen poised over his notepad, its nib catching the light as he tapped it once. A signal he was slicing into the marrow of Margaret's argument, his voice cutting dry through the crisp air like a scalpel through flesh. Photos clear, exact, what's it, showtime marks? Prove it to me, not just your say-so. I need the harm, not your story. Margaret's hands steadied, her voice firm, her steady brown eyes glinting, with a fire that burned beneath her calm, as she slid the photos forward, her fingers steady, despite the tremor of indignation. Here, October 24th, 5:30 p.m. Arm bruise, knee swell, 5:40 p.m. Neighbor snaps pics, doctor's note. October 25th. Sprain, confirmed deed 5 years back. My name. They pushed, I fell clear as rain. Accident, prove it false. How's it show intent, not just your word? Show me the push, not their slip. Photos, arm grab marks her. Shove bruise witnesses, neighbor saw Lisa. Push Tom, pull, deed's mine. No slip, they meant it. I hurt, truth's plain, they aimed. Truth's plain. Her voice rose slightly, a tremor of conviction breaking through her calm, her steady brown eyes glinting with a flicker of pain beneath the resolve, her hands trembling faintly as she pointed to the photos, the weight of her betrayal spilling into her words, her teaching grit, a steady anchor, her widow's strength, a silent flame, her resolve a steel thread woven through her pain. Damages, cost, specifics, why is it theirs? Show me the harm, not just the fall. Bruises, sprain, medical bills, $2,000, pain, my home. Oregon 163.160 assault, damages 5 years. I paid, they turned me out, harm's deep, justice demands, they pay, truth's heavy, they owe. Her voice steadied again, her hands unclenching slightly, her steady brown eyes meeting Daniel's sharp scrutiny, her resolve a steel thread beneath her calm, the courtroom holding its breath. As she laid bare the stakes, her teaching years, a testament, her home, a bond she'd forged, her widowhood, a wound, now a shield. Daniel scribbled, his voice dry as the Salem frost outside his drawl, measured but piercing. Photos are steel, your take's solid, defendant's turn. I need facts, not fluff, go on. Tom Cole rose from the table, his assent heavy and tense, each step thudding against the marble like a hammer's echo, his clean flannel shirt tense over his lean frame, his gruff voice a brittle mask, steady, but edged with defiance, as he swore, his hand heavy on the Bible, its weight grounding his faltering resolve. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. He sat, hands gripping the rail fingers, digging into the wood, as he adjusted the microphone, his blue eyes locking onto Daniel with a defiance, tempered by unease. His short hair combed back, swaying slightly as he leaned in, his breath steadying against the courtroom's crisp air, his voice threading through the stillness like a rough thread. She fell October 24th. No push her fault, old legs accident, not harm. No eviction, just talk, she's dramatic, no debt. He slid his evidence across with a shaky motion, a handwritten note, a lease claim, his voice steady, carrying across the room, with a weight that faltered under scrutiny, a carpenter's bravado cutting through the haze. 5:30 p.m., October 24th bungalow. She yells, "My house." Trips falls. Lisa says move. I grab to help 5:30. Oh, 5 p.m. She cries. No push note says she fell. Lisa's mine, no harm, just her tail bruises. Old age, not us. His words landed like a shaky plank, creaking, swaying through the gallery, his blue eyes flickering with a mix of certainty and creeping doubt, a fragile storm beneath his poise. His mind racing with the fallout crew bets souring since Margaret sued Lisa's temper. A noose tightening his resolve, a fraying thread. Lisa Grant followed her ascent swift and tense, her sharp voice cutting through as she swore, her hand firm on the Bible. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. She sat, hands gripping the rail, her blue eyes locking onto Daniel with a defiance, edged with panic. Her jacket tense over her lean frame, her voice shrill. She tripped 5:30 p.m., October 24th. No. Shove, just talk, she's old, fell accident, her fault, no harm, just drama. Daniel's gaze sharpened as pen tapping, once his voice slicing through. Push exact, when, where, prove it didn't happen. Show me facts, not words. Tom's hands steadied, his voice firm, his blue eyes glinting with a fire that burned beneath his panic. 5:30 p.m., October 24th porch. She yells, steps back, falls 5:30. Oh, 5 p.m. I grab, she cries no. Push note says fell. Lisa talks, she trips, accident, not us. Harm, prove it false. How's it show no hurt, not just your word? Show me the slip, not her strike. Note, trip no push, buddy, saw she wobbled. I grabbed to help, no bruise from us, old lady, weak photos. Her fault. Not ours, truths, simple, she's frail. His voice wavered, his hands clenching the note, his blue eyes flickering with a shadow of doubt beneath the defiance, the gallery holding its breath as his words stumbled, Lisa nodding beside him, her shrill echo a fraying thread, his carpentry life, a gamble he'd lost. Damages, cost, specifics. Why's it not yours? Show me the chance, not her claim. No, damages, she fell, her mess, Lisa's mine, no harm too grand. Her lie, accident, not debt, truth's clear, she's playing. His voice steadied, his hands unclenching, his blue eyes pleading beneath the strain, the courtroom holding its breath, as he laid bare his fragile dodge, Lisa's sharp voice chiming. She's old, tripped, not us, drama, not truth. Their tavern nights, a fading shield, their defiance a crumbling wall. The courtroom crackled as witnesses took the stand, their voices threading through the crisp air, like live wires sparking in the dark, each testimony a jolt that fueled the mounting tension. Margaret's neighbor Ed Grayson, a grizzled farmer with a steady gaze and calloused hands from years tending Salem's fields, testified first, climbing the stand with a calm step that belied the weight of his words, his voice steady, his brown eyes clear and unflinching. October 24th, 5:30 p.m. Bungalow porch, I saw her stand, yell, my home. Lisa shoved, Tom grabbed. She fell, cried no, trip, just a push. I filmed it. Daniel leaned in, his blue eyes piercing. Exact time. What did you see? How'd they act? Prove it, not guess, show me the push, not their line. Ed's hands rested steady on the rail, his voice firm. 5:30 p.m., October 24th porch, 10 feet away. She's calm, says, I stay. Lisa shoves Tom, pulls 5:30. Oh, 5 p.m. She falls, cries, video's clear, no trip. I saw it, they pushed. His words landed like a quiet hammer, the gallery shifting, whispers swelling. As he stepped down, his farm nights, a silent witness to Margaret's stand, his video a steel thread in her tail, his loyalty a steady rock. Tom's crew buddy, Sam Carter, followed his ascent slower boots, scuffing the marble, with a reluctant thud. His lanky frame hunched slightly, under a faded flannel shirt. His quiet smirk fading, as he swore his hand heavy on the Bible. "I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God." He sat hands, gripping the rail, fingers twitching, as he adjusted the microphone, his blue eyes locking onto Daniel with defiance and a flicker of unease that danced beneath his lean frame. His voice gruff, but steady, cutting through the air like a low growl. "She tripped. October 24th, 5:30 p.m., Porch yelled. Stepped back, fell, Tom grabbed, to help Lisa. Talked. No, push accident, her fault, old legs." He slid his thin papers across a scribbled note, his voice carrying a weight of certainty, though a faint crack betrayed his strain. 5:30 p.m., October 24th, Porch. 10 feet back, she yells mine. Trips, Tom grabs. Lisa says move. 5:30, 5 p.m. She falls. No shove note, says tripped. Accident, not us. Daniel's gaze sharpened, his pen tapping, once his voice slicing through. Trip exact when where, prove it was chance, show me facts not words. Sam's hands steadied, his voice firm, his blue eyes glinting with a flicker of defiance. 5:30 p.m., October 24th, Porch. She steps, yells, trips, Tom grabs Lisa. Talks 5:30, 5 p.m., she's down. No shove note, says fell. Old unsteady truths clear, she slipped. Push, prove it false, how's it show, no force. Not just your take. Show me the fall, not her fight. Note, trip, no push. I saw her wobble, Tom grabs to help video. Angles off, rain dark, she fell. Not push, truth simple. She's frail. His voice wavered, his hands clenching the note. His blue eyes flickering with a shadow of doubt beneath the defiance, the gallery holding its breath as his words stumbled. His crew loyalty a fraying thread since Margaret's suit hit his bet souring with Tom's dodge. His own doubts creeping in since the video aired. Evidence clashed like thunderheads colliding. Margaret's video, time-stamped October 24th, 5:33 p.m. Captured her standing calm on the porch, hands down, raincoat. Dripping, 5:30:05 p.m. Lisa shoving her shoulder. Tom grabbing her arm. No trip. 5:07 p.m. Margaret falling crying. My home. Clear as the Salem rain photos. Arm bruises knee. Swell stood firm. Affidavit said. Saw shove, grabbed solid as stone. Oregon Revised Statutes 163. 160 assault with intent. Tom and Lisa's note. Tripped accident. And lease claim. Paled beside the video. A flimsy scrap against a tidal wave of truth. Sam's no push, echoed Tom, but crumbled under the video's clarity. A thin reed bending under scrutiny. Margaret's folder swelled with deed records, her name etched 5 years deep, a timeline tight as a teacher's lesson. Her resolve a steel thread woven through her evidence. Daniel probed, his voice sharp as a blade, his blue eyes blazing like a storm breaking over the river. Push or fall, video shows, push, why deny? Prove it to me, Mr. Cole, chance or harm, what's it say? Tom's jaw tightened, his voice, gruff defiance flaring. Fall, she tripped, yelled, fell. No push, videos off, Lisa talked. I grabbed, accident, not harm. Truth's plain. She's old. His hands clenched the rail, his blue eyes flickering with a mix of certainty and panic. The gallery gasping, as his words clashed with the video's silent truth, Lisa's shrill echo chiming. She fell, no shove drama, not us. Daniel's gaze narrowed, his pen slashing the page. Videos, fact your fall, Ben's next witness. I need steel, not smoke. The air thickened as the next witness was called, Margaret's friend, Lena Ortiz, a plump retiree with a steady gaze and a soft Oregon drawl, climbed the stand, her testimony, a quiet counterpoint, her voice a steady thread in the storm. October 24th, 5:30 p.m. Porch saw her stand, say my home. Lisa shoved, Tom pulled, she fell, cried, no trip, just force, I saw it. Daniel cut in. Exact, when, where, prove it, not echo. What did you see? Lena's hands rested steady, her voice firm. 5:30 p.m. Porch 10 feet away, she's calm still. Lisa shoves Tom. Grabs 5:30. 5 p.m. She falls, videos clear. No stumble, truth solid they pushed. Daniel's voice sharpened. Force explain it, why? Push, why lie? Lena's gaze held. No lie, anger, they yelled out, shoved force not. Fall truths plain, they meant it. The gallery murmured, tension coiling tighter, as Lena stepped down, her porch visits a silent witness, to Margaret's fight, her friendship a steady anchor, her resolve a quiet flame. A week of unrelenting heat testimony piled like cordwood on a blazing fire. Voices rose like thunder rolling over the Willamette papers, shuffled into towering stacks, their edges curling in the crisp air, ink smudged from anxious hands. The courtroom, a crucible, simmering with sweat and strain, its air thick with the weight of words, and the gallery's murmurs swelling like a storm breaking over the city's brick sprawl. Daniel recessed daily, retreating to his chambers. A stark nook with a scratched desk cluttered with files, and a half-read novel. Its pages yellowed from years on the shelf. A window framing Salem's skyline, crisp through a clear pane. The city's buildings and river dulled by morning frost. His coffee cooling untouched beside a stack of Oregon statutes, and a worn legal pad, its pages scrawled with notes, timestamps, frames. His boots tapping a relentless rhythm against the hardwood as he paced his mind, sifting through the tangle with a judge's stern precision, weighing every word, every glance, every scrap of evidence against the emotional current swirling beneath like the river's hidden depths. Its flow steady but unseen, its silt muddying the truth, his logging days, a distant grit, his law school nights, a steel guide, his Salem years, a steady pulse, his resolve, a fire that burned steady. He returned on Monday, November 20th, his robe rustling as he climbed the bench, his voice firm, cutting through the room's hum like a blade, through silence. His blue eyes sweeping the gallery, then settling on Tom and Lisa, with a weight that pinned them like stones under a river's relentless current. His presence, a stern anchor in the storm, his drawl sharp and unyielding. Photos bind them, damages due, pay her October 24th assault upheld. He leaned forward, his pen tapping once, a single resounding strike. His voice rising, his blue eyes blazing like a storm breaking over the river. His words, a thunderclap that silenced the room. Evidence don't lie. Mr. Cole, Ms. Grant, you do. Video October 24th, 5:30. 3 p.m. She's calm, hands down, raincoat on, 5:30. 5 p.m. You shove, you grab, she falls, 5:30. 7 p.m. She cries, my home, clear as rain. Photos, arm bruises, knee swell, affidavits. Ed saw shove, grab, Lena, force not fall, Oregon, 163.160. Intent clear, no trip. Your note, tripped, flops, video steal. Deeds hers, 5 years, $2,000, damages 30 days, truths out. And it's heavy. Margaret stood tall, her steady brown eyes softening, a flicker of triumph washing over her like a wave breaking on shore, her hands unclenching on her cane, a weight lifting from her shoulders. Though the echo of that betrayal lingered, a shadow of justice reclaimed her home, and dignity affirmed the courtroom's gasp, a chorus of awe as she stepped back. Her mission, not just to win but to mend a quiet strength, now a beacon her teaching years, a silent testament her widowhood, a scar that ached less. Now her resolve a fire that burned steady, her home a bond she'd forged anew. Tom sank into his seat, his blue eyes dimming, his lean frame slumping as if the air had been sucked from his lungs, his hands clenching his note until the paper tore a sharp rip, slicing the silence. Fault laid bare defiance. A shadow unmasked a truth. He couldn't shrug off a burden, now etched into his bones. His gruff voice dissolving into a grimace, as the gallery's murmurs swelled around him like a tide. Lisa's shrill echo beside him crumbling their home, a noose. They'd tightened themselves, their home crew, Bet's a fading echo, their resolve a crumbling wall. The gallery erupted in hushed awe, Ed muttering, she's got 'em, video's king, they're cooked. Clara nodding, fair's fair, she nailed 'em. Tara whispering, told you truth wins, she's fierce. Lena grinning, she's a rock teacher power. Sam shaking his head, they saw a trip honest take. Luke silent, his jaw tight. Daniel's gavel fell, a crisp thud. Wood meeting wood echoing like a vault, slamming shut, silencing the storm. 2000, due 30 days, case closed. Facts clear, Mrs. Cole prevails. Next. Outside, Salem shimmered under a dusk streaked with amber and violet, the air cooling as the sun sank below the horizon, its golden light glinting off the Willamette River's gentle ripples, casting a fleeting glow over the city's brick skyline, the streets alive with the hum of evening traffic, and the distant pulse of leaves rustling in the breeze. Fading into the night, the city's pulse a steady beat beneath the glow, the air alive with whispers of justice won. Margaret drove off in her sedan, its silver finish catching the last rays, her steady brown eyes glinting with relief and a quiet triumph, her hands steady on the wheel as she navigated the streets toward her bungalow in West Salem. The hum of the engine, a soft melody beside her, a future brighter yet still tender, her mind drifting to the fallout she'd won, headlines buzzing, widow wins damages from son, neighbors cheering her porch return that night. Tom and Lisa's debt, a symbol of her resolve, her quiet strength, the spark that lit a fire of justice in Salem's courts. Her home restored a pause after the storm, yet a question lingered in the stillness. Would family heal in Salem's reign, or would betrayal's shadow stretch further, clawing back from the light? She'd cast her teaching years, a testament her widowhood a wound now fading her resolve, a steady flame that burned bright, her home a bond she'd reclaimed. Tom faded into the courthouse lot, his truck parked, crooked against a maple, its white finish dulled by dusk, his blue eyes hard with a flicker of disbelief. His lean frame slumped against the door, his hands gripping his cap with a force that whitened his knuckles. Tension unspent, a storm brewing beneath his silence. His gruff voice muttering to the wind, "She fell. I saw it, damn video's wrong." A shadow of doubt he couldn't shake clung to him, a fault he couldn't shrug off, a burden now etched into his stride as he climbed in and drove west toward his rental in Kaiser. Lisa, beside him, her shrill voice, silent now, their taillights fading into the crisp golden glow. A carpenter's pride shattered by a debt's cost, a question trailing behind him like exhaust fumes in the night air. Could he reclaim bonds from a moment's push, or would the debt he'd forged swallow him whole, a casualty of the truth? He'd failed to see his crew bets, dust his girlfriend's temper, a fading echo his home, a weight he'd lost his resolve, a crumbling thread. They'd face the payment, their lease a noose they'd bear, yet their echo lingered in Salem's back streets, a cautionary tale for those who'd watched their defiance, a shadow that faded slow. Daniel drove home to his ranch house on the city's edge, its cedar siding catching the last golden rays, before dusk swallowed them. The Willamette River, a shimmering silhouette against the sky, its edges blurring into shadow, the maples along its banks whispering in the breeze, his sedan rumbling over asphalt, its tires humming a steady tune as he pondered. Would bonds mend between a mother and a town bound by a push's violent turn? Would justice's weight soften, or drift further into the dusk like a lesson half learned, a bond unhealed? His logging days a distant grit, his law school nights a steel guide, his Salem years a steady pulse, his rulings a testament to justice's grind, his Tillamook roots a quiet flame that burned steady. The horizon stretched, Oregon's hills whispering under a sky deepening to indigo, the river glinting faintly, a mirror to his thoughts. What heals a scar carved by betrayal? What waits in the crisp golden glow for a woman with resolve and a son with shame? What lessons linger in the cool air for a push that broke trust? But not her spirit. Margaret's home, a testament, Tom's dead, a lingering echo. Daniel's justice, a quiet call that rang true. A question hung open and vast, shimmering in Salem's quiet night. A truth unresolved, a story trailing into the dusk. Its next chapter waiting beyond the courtroom, beyond the river, beyond the glow that settled over the city like a promise yet to unfold. A whisper of what might rise from the ashes of a gray dusk's reckoning. Margaret's resolve, a beacon, Tom's shame a shadow, Daniel's ruling a flame that flickered still. Thank you all for watching this video. Please comment and let me know what you think about this story. Please like and subscribe to watch more great content on my channel.